Camera on. Good afternoon, students. Welcome to our first online class. We'll be looking at cells, microbes, and cell specialization. So we need to pick up our work at the diagrams of the plant and animal cells. So before we begin, let's bow our heads for a word of prayer. Our loving Father in heaven, we're thankful for life and even for the opportunity to meet as a class to continue the content of the syllabus. I pray that you will grant these students wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, and continue to provide for their homes. Bless them in everything that they do. Be with our session even now, we pray. In Jesus' name, amen. So I do believe everyone can see this structure here. This is the animal cell, the first one. And then we have the plant cell. So we did start naming certain structures in these sorry guys, on these diagrams, right? So we're going at the top here. Let me get my pen. We work with green today. Somebody please mute your mic. So we're looking at the cell membrane first. So we're going to look for the cell membrane. All right, so we're looking at the first diagram. We have the cell membrane. So where is that? Cell membrane is here. This structure here that is giving the border around the cell, right? Remember I said it controls what goes in and out of the cell, right? Then we were supposed to be looking at, I should open this on my phone anyway. The list back up. Then we have the cytoplasm. Can you see the word cytoplasm there for me? Anybody found it yet? Cytoplasm. That's here. All these guys here. This cream stuff there, that's the cytoplasm. All throughout the cell. Right? We were supposed to you were supposed to write the notes on the functions of these cell organelles. Remember, these structures are called what? Cell organelles, right? Nucleus. So in the middle here on both, this is our nucleus in the middle there, with that blue dot. Let's find it here on the plant cell. Do you see our nucleus there, students? Nucleus here, that's the nucleus, right? And then some important ones. This is the smooth endoplasmic reticulum. And the rough one has these dots. Remember we said both cells have the endoplasmic reticulum, right? The rough one has what we call ribosomes, right? These are the ribosomes that are on the endoplasmic reticulum down below here, right? That's it. Then we have mitochondria. I'm circling one where the labeling isn't. So it's such a shape. And this is where respiration occurs. Let me take off some of these guys. Taking off. Good. In the middle now.
Guys, Bellingham is not even the same person anymore. Bro learned from Mbappe.
I'm recording this, girl. The volume. In the middle, we have a vacuole. Look the word here, vacuole. It's large and in the middle of the plant cell, right? But if we go to the animal cell, what do you notice about these vacuoles? Do you see them? Anyone open your mic and give me a response. Where are the vacuoles? Hello, students.
Miss,
You can
those
open.
tiny particles?
Yeah, these little clear things here. You see how they're small and
Yes, miss.
scattered in the animal cell. But when we look at the plant cell, we go back to the plant cell, there's one large vacuole in the middle here. So this in the middle here is the vacuole, right? This large structure, right? So according to our diagrams now, you should be able to see which are the organelles we had listed in the last class, right? Any questions here with your diagrams?
No, miss.
Clear, right? Yeah. And
Okay.
remember, look, we have one more structure. These guys in green in the plant cell. What are they called? These guys here, what are they called? Somebody quick. Look the label in here. Pronounce that word for me. Let's see if you guys can remember that pronunciation.
It's chloroplast.
Wonderful. Thank you. Chloroplast. And remember, it has the green pigment called chlorophyll. And this is where photosynthesis happens in the plant cell. So we're going to move on to functions of the cell organelles. So we had a table to look at. Let me see if I can get rid of all these thingies that are green. So we're moving on. So you had to complete writing this table for me. So we're going to go through the table quickly. Now remember, cell membrane, think of it as the door of the cell. It controls substances that enter and leave the cell, right? That's simple. Cytoplasm now, it supports the organelles, and within the cytoplasm, you have many chemical reactions happening. Now remember, our cells are living and they carry out chemical reactions in order to function. And a lot of those happen in the cytoplasm.
Miss,
Yes, dear.
so the table, we have to put it in our book, but we have to get images, print
Yes.
the images.
Yes. And I
Okay.
did do some photocopying of the diagrams and so forth. Yes, I did do the photocopying for 8 persons that paid the full 200. The others that, when you finish paying, then I print it for you guys. So yeah, let's continue. So the nucleus, think of it as the brain of the cell. It controls the things that make the cell a cell and how it functions. And it is essential for cell division. So cells have to divide, right, to create new cells. Right? So mitochondrion, remember this is the singular form. Mitochondria, many, right? And these are the sausage shape structures. They're there in the pink. Let me see if I can circle one quickly. This is the mitochondria, right? Mitochondria, more than one. One is called mitochondrion, right? Good. So let me take that off. Back to the next page. So this is where cellular respiration happens. And when you hear respiration, just think of the food being broken down to release energy. That's basically what is respiration, right? Then we know that we have the endoplasmic reticulum. We have the smooth ones and the rough ones, right? What they do is to transport substances throughout the cell. They basically package substances and move them from one place to the next within the cell, right? Ribosomes now. These are like the little dots on the rough endoplasmic reticulum. What happens there is that the ribosomes, they produce protein. We call this synthesis. Just so you know the word photosynthesis, where light is used to make food in the plants. Protein synthesis happens in ribosomes. Then we have the vacuoles. Vacuoles, we find them in both types of cells. They are used to store food, cell secretions, and cell waste. And it makes the cell turgid. Question, what does the word turgid mean? You will tell me in next class. What does it mean when we say something is turgid, right? That's homework. Write that down. Sean, you're writing on my screen. Anyhow, I'm deleting you and you're right. Oh, you took it off. Thank you. All right, then we have the cell wall. Aha. Which one of the cells has a cell wall? Anyone can remember from what they saw in the diagram? Is it a plant or animal cell? Come on, somebody give me an answer. Which one has a cell wall? Okay, I run back to this diagram. All right, we're running back to the diagram. See anything with cell wall there?
Miss a plant. The plant cell.
Good, that's correct. Thank you. So here on this diagram, as you can see, we have the cell wall right there. This is our cell wall. So the first thing bordering the cell is the cell wall. And then we move into the cell membrane is the next layer, right? So please remember, the cell wall is only present in the plant cell, right? All right, we're going back to our diagram. Our table. Chloroplasts, remember those green structures we saw in the plant cell? I told you they are green because they contain what substance? The green pigment in plants is called chlorophyll, and chlorophyll makes these chloroplasts look green. That's why they were colored in green on the diagram. And this is where photosynthesis happens. Then you had some homework for differences of plants. So skipping quick, y'all don't look at the table, right? 3 differences y'all had to give me, right? Good. So we're moving on to microbes. When you hear microbes, think microorganisms. This includes viruses, bacteria, protozoa, and fungi, right? And many of them cause diseases, right? We call them pathogens. Now we're going to look at the structure of the virus, bacteria, and the fungi, right? So let's look at the first diagram. So we're going to look at a virus particle. You take a different color. You take orange. So we're going in the middle, right? These red strands there, what are they called? They're called nucleic acid strands, right? Then we have a little blue structure here bordering these guys here. This is our capsid, which is basically a protein shell that encloses the nucleic acid strands, right? It encloses them. They're surrounded, the nucleic acid strands. Then we come to this creamish layer here, right? The viral envelope. And this contains proteins. And the proteins are colored in green. So this is what a typical virus particle looks like. Very simple structure. Nothing complicated. So you have to learn these little parts, know their parts, how to spell the names of the parts. Just in case they might want to give you a diagram to label in your exam. You never know. right? Any questions there?
No, miss.
All right, that's simple. We're moving on. We're moving on. Bacteria. So we're looking at the bacterial cell. Yes. Kind of look like a sausage, right? So take another color. All right, we're looking at the middle now. So this green work, green strings. These guys in the middle. They're called the nucleoid, right? And it's a single long coiled loop of DNA. It controls all cellular activities, right? DNA. Homework. What does DNA represent? Please give me a next class. You owe me that one, right? Then we have surrounding this strand, the nucleoid, we have a cell membrane. Then in green, we have the cell wall. Then we have a capsule in this little creamish color, which is like a slimy outer covering found in some bacteria, not all, right? It helps to protect the cell. In the middle area, this another cream set of stuff is your cytoplasm. And then we got these little guys called plasmid right there. They're small circular pieces of DNA and something like a tail called a flagellum. The flagellum helps to move the bacterial cell. It's a long whip-like projection and it helps in movement. Think of like the tadpole that has a tail. The flagellum moves just like that to help move the bacterial cell. You're going to read these little notes. I'm not going to go into them fine. All right. So we're going to move to fungi now. Fungi. All right. Off to the fungi. Now, a common one that we know, a fungus that we know, is a bread mold. You'll ever look at a bread mold on your bread mold? Green, orange, whatever color it had. Did it look like it had little tiny dust particles that look kind of like this diagram? Like a long thing sticking out and then these grainy pieces? Y'all ever look at it? Or all y'all just know that the bread ain't going, y'all dash it away. Anyway, we're supposed to look at, get moldy bread and look at the bread mold under the microscope. We're going to try to complete that this week, right? So we're going to look at the structures now. Just looking at the names of the structures. You're going to read the little notes for me, right? So we have at the head here, let me take the hypha. The pH gives us an F sound, hypha. It is thread-like branching. It's a thread-like branching structure that is made up of many cells or a single cell with many nuclei and a central vacuole. If you were to magnify it, you would see that. Then we have mycelium. So this long string here is the hypha, and the collection of these things are called the mycelium, which is the body of the fungus made up of a network of hyphae. Hyphae is plural for hypha, right? Then we have the spore case there. And these are little spores that can come off and they're used for reproduction, right? Good. We're moving on quickly. Our time is fastly going fast. So let me take off these little markings. Any questions, you let me know in the next class during the week, right? Cell specialization. So we're going here. So when we think of cell specialization, we're thinking of cells taking on different characteristics to do a particular job. Now we've got different types of cells and they do different things. So we're going to look at a few here on our table. We have epithelial cells. These guys help to cover and protect the body surfaces. Our skin, the top layer is made up of epithelial cells, right? You know of sperm cells. Yeah, the males produce sperm cells in their testes. That is responsible for fertilizing the female gamete, which we know are called eggs or ovules. Ovum represents one egg, and ova, many eggs. And we know the eggs also fuse or join with the male gamete, which is a sperm, and they produce something known as the zygote. Then we have nerve cells. These guys basically transmit impulses throughout our body, and it helps to coordinate the functioning of our body. And then we have muscle cells. These guys, we know they're there to help with moving our body parts. So muscles and bones work together so we can move our body. I think that's a very simple table. Any questions here? Trying to wrap up this thing within 10 minutes. We have 7 minutes though. Good. So what you guys will do for me is take your time and look at the different parts of these cells, these different cells. See if you can memorize these different parts. So we have epithelial cells down on the top left. Top right is the sperm cell or spermatozoon. Then we have the egg cell below the epithelial cells. Then we have one type of nerve cell, which is called a neuron. And then we have smooth muscle cells and skeletal muscle cells. Note they look different, right? Good. So cells now, from cells, when they come, a group of cells combine to make tissues. Different tissues can form organs, and different organs can work together to give us organ systems, and the whole set of organ systems form an organism. So the last table in your notes basically tells you about the different organ systems, their organs, and their function. So digestive system, we have the stomach, liver, pancreas, intestines, and these guys help with the digesting and absorption of food. Reproductive systems, in females, we have the ovaries and the uterus. Males, we have testes and the penis. These guys produce offspring. Respiratory system, we have the nose, larynx, trachea, bronchi, lungs. Later, you're going to learn where these parts are located in your respiratory system. And basically, the respiratory system is there for the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide. Nervous system, now organs, brain, spinal cord, nerves. Later on, you learn a lot about this nervous system too. So remember, it's human and social biology, so we look at a lot of these systems. So the nervous system helps us to detect, that is to pick up and respond to changes in our environment. And we term that those changes as stimuli. Circulatory system, we have the heart and the blood vessels. You learn a lot about the heart, function of heart, features of blood vessels, etc. later down. And we know with our circulatory system, it's important to transport substances around our body, right? And we have just a little bit more time, about 5 minutes. So here's what we're gonna do. You have any questions? Anybody here has questions? Let me pick out a few questions. Let me ask y'all a few things. Somebody give me the function of the mitochondrion. Look at this question here. Question number 3. What does the mitochondria do? Anybody? See if y'all can remember. Hello? My students gone out on me. Y'all can't remember? Nothing about these things here. All right, which out of these five is like the door of the cell that controls what goes in and out of the cell? Is it mitochondria, chloroplast, endoplasmic reticulum, ribosomes, or the cell membrane? Pardon?
Cell membrane.
Correct. Thank you. Thank you. So when you complete this work here, try to just see how well you can answer these revision questions in the textbook. Right? So we're going to end here for today. You don't have to have a second session. If you have any questions, however, please ask them. I think I'll have you guys on Tuesday, right? Good. So we're going to end here for today, and I'm going to upload this in the group, the link for the YouTube video. All right. Take care, students. Bye-bye.